You never know what's in the drugs, even though you have a reliable source. I mean, it was fentanyl, but then people started putting benzos in it. It's a combination of the two that are killing people. We take a very, very small sample of their drug to be tested. And after the testing's done, we return the drug back to them.
The information that we provide back to individuals allows them to use their drugs in a way that is safer and result in less overdoses.
That prevents death. And we have never had an overdose fatality at Insight. Thousands and thousands and thousands of safe injections have been provided here without any fatalities. This place also helps reduce the spread of HIV and hepatitis C, helps reduce soft tissue infections. It does that with clean equipment, safer injection education, with things like running water and soap, you know?
I find that getting the drugs tested actually makes the drug dealers more accountable because they know that people are going to jail.
In Vancouver, the Canadian government is playing with fire. Instead of stopping drugs, it has opted to legalize small doses and call it safe supply. Addicts can now inject drugs under medical supervision, not to quit, but to survive. Centers like Insight are seen as symbols of humane policy: clean needles, regulated drugs, doctors on duty. Thousands have avoided overdoses, and alleys once littered with corpses now have fewer ambulance sirens. That's true. But it's also the beginning of the biggest controversy in Canada's drug war history. Supporters call it lifeline. You can't detoxify someone who's already dead. They believe that keeping someone alive is the first step to healing. Opponents say it's legalization of desperation. When the government provides safe injection sites, they say it's an admission of failure, turning public authority into gatekeepers to the continuing addiction. The question is tearing Canadian society apart. Is saving lives by allowing them to continue using drugs really saving lives? Or is it just prolonging the agony of a system that has lost faith? In a country known for its compassion, the practice is exposing the blurred line between compassion and helplessness. And in Vancouver, where life and death can be separated by a single dose of medication, no one is sure what is right and what is wrong.
Welcome to U.S. Homeless Stories.
1. The daily realities of street homelessness. This is U.S. Homeless Stories, where we uncover the real, unfiltered life of those living on the streets of Vancouver. In 2025, more than 5,232 people across Metro Vancouver are experiencing homelessness, an increase that reflects the growing cracks in our social and economic systems. Each morning begins with uncertainty: where to sleep, where to eat, and how to stay safe. For many, the street has become both a home and a daily battle for survival. Walk through downtown East Side or Strathcona, and you'll see the harsh truth: tents clustered under bridges, people huddled against cold walls, the quiet fatigue of those fighting just to make it through another day. In neighborhoods like Hastings Corridor and Oppenheimer Park, sidewalks have turned into fragile communities, held together by small acts of kindness. Libraries become shelters during the day. Soup kitchens become sanctuaries. Every place that offers warmth or a friendly word becomes a lifeline. Yet behind these everyday scenes lies something deeper, a reflection of who we are as a city. Rising rents, mental health crises, addiction, and stagnant wages are pushing thousands into desperation. But homelessness isn't only about poverty. It's about our shared humanity and how easily any life can unravel when support disappears. When you imagine living this way, what emotions come to mind? Do you believe we're doing enough to help those struggling on our streets? And if you want to keep exploring the real stories shaping Vancouver, subscribe to US Homeless Stories and join a community that refuses to look away. 2. Scenes of survival and root causes. Every corner of Vancouver tells a story, some of triumph, others of quiet struggle. In 2025, those struggles are no longer hidden. Walk down the streets of downtown East Side, Hastings, or Crab Park, and you'll see them in plain sight. Tents tucked under bridges, sleeping bags beside busy sidewalks, people clinging to fragments of hope in a city once known as the gem of the West Coast. According to regional data, over 5,232 British Columbians in Metro Vancouver are without a stable home this year, a 9% increase since 2023. These aren't just numbers. They're parents, veterans, and young people who once had jobs, dreams, and routines like any of us. The reasons run deep. Skyrocketing rents, stagnant wages, and a social safety net stretched to its limits have turned the simple act of survival into a daily battle. One unexpected illness, one lost job, and everything can vanish. Studies show that in Metro Vancouver, average rents push beyond affordability for minimum wage earners. That reality forces many into shelters, cars, or sidewalks, places never meant to be called home. And yet, through the hardship, something incredible still flickers: resilience. In Oppenheimer Park, volunteers deliver hot meals under the rain. In DTES, kind strangers offer warm drinks and conversation in cold doorways. These moments remind us that compassion still exists, even when the system falls short. If this story moved you, leave a comment below. Share what you feel, what you think could help. And don't forget to subscribe to US Homeless Stories, where we uncover the real faces behind Vancouver's toughest crisis and give a voice to those the world too often forgets. 3. Government efforts in drug legalization. Across British Columbia, a quiet revolution is unfolding, one that's changing how we think about drugs, justice, and humanity.
We take a very, very small sample of their drug to be tested. And after the testing's done, we return the drug back to them.
By 2005, Canada has maintained its pilot decriminalization in BC, allowing personal possession of small amounts without criminal charges. A remarkable shift after decades of harsh enforcement.
That prevents death, basically. And we have never had an overdose fatality at Insight. Thousands and thousands and thousands of safe injections have been provided here without any fatalities. This place also helps reduce the spread of HIV and hepatitis C, helps reduce soft tissue infections. It does that with clean equipment, safer injection education, with things like running water and soap,
For years, minor offenses tore families apart and filled jails, often targeting the poor and the marginalized. Now, the province is rethinking that approach, redirecting resources toward housing, mental health care, and community programs that give people a second chance at life. In Vancouver, where thousands struggle each night, this change is more than political. It's deeply personal. Funds from related initiatives have helped build transitional housing and treatment centers, offering hope where once there was only despair. Still, the road ahead isn't easy. Adjustments in 2024 limited public use, keeping the focus on health. This balance between reform and community needs creates barriers for people trying to rebuild their lives. The question we face now isn't just about decriminalization, it's about what kind of city we want to be. Will we continue punishing the vulnerable, or will we build systems that heal and uplift? What do you think? Can compassionate decriminalization truly help rebuild lives and communities? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. And if you believe these stories deserve to be heard, hit that like button and subscribe to US Homeless Stories to stay connected to the realities shaping Vancouver today. 4. Safe supply initiatives by the government. In 2025, Vancouver is facing one of its hardest truths: the drug crisis is no longer just a statistic. It's a story written on every street corner in DTES. Thousands have been lost to toxic supplies in BC, according to provincial health data. Each number represents a face, a family, a heartbeat that once hoped for another chance. That's why the idea of a safe supply is no longer just a policy debate. It's a lifeline. Across Vancouver's Insight and other harm reduction centers, programs are quietly rewriting the story of survival. They provide clean, medical-grade alternatives and safe spaces, not to encourage use, but to keep people alive long enough to find a path forward. Supported by Health Canada and BC's strategy, these initiatives are expanding fast. Outreach workers hand out naloxone, offer sterile supplies, and really listen, to those who've been ignored for too long. In Vancouver alone, hundreds have avoided tragedy thanks to these programs. They are proof that compassion, when backed by action, saves lives. So, what do you think? Should programs like Safe Supply become a normal part of public health care across BC? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you believe stories like Marcus's deserve to be heard, hit like, leave a comment, and subscribe to US Homeless Stories, where every voice matters and every story counts. Five, statistics and societal realities. Behind every number lies a story, and in 2025, those stories have become impossible to ignore in Metro Vancouver. The Homelessness Services Association estimates 5,232 people are living without stable housing, the highest regional figure recorded, with 1,993 unsheltered. Over a third are sleeping outdoors, spending nights under bridges, in cars, or on cold sidewalks. These are not just figures on a spreadsheet. They are teachers, parents, veterans, and children, people who once had homes, dreams, and routines, now caught in a system that forgot them. In neighborhoods like downtown East Side, Strathcona, and Crab Park, the crisis has reached a breaking point. Shelters overflow nightly, while tent encampments stretch across sidewalks and parks. The average rent in Metro Vancouver now tops $2,300 per month, far outpacing wage growth. For families living paycheck to paycheck, one medical bill or job loss can mean the difference between stability and the street. And for seniors surviving on fixed incomes, rising costs leave them with nowhere to turn but their cars. Behind these scenes are the faces of children doing homework under streetlights, veterans battling invisible wounds, and mothers holding on to hope in the harshest conditions. Each statistic hides a beating heart, a story worth telling. This is more than a housing issue. It's a test of compassion, a reflection of who we are as a city. As you hear these numbers, take a moment to imagine what it means to lose everything but still hold on to dignity. How would you respond if this happened in your neighborhood to someone you love? If these stories move you, don't just scroll past. Hit subscribe to US Homeless Stories. Leave a comment with your thoughts, and help us keep shining a light on the realities too many Vancouverites face every day. Six, community anxieties surrounding homelessness. All across Vancouver, the conversation around homelessness has grown heavier, not just in statistics, but in the hearts of ordinary people watching their neighborhoods change before their eyes. In 2025, reports show that more than half of residents in Metro Vancouver feel anxiety about public encampments. They see tents near playgrounds, families sleeping in cars outside grocery stores, and the uneasy mix of compassion and fear that follows. It's not that people have stopped caring, it's that many don't know how to help anymore. When sidewalks become shelters, Questions of safety, empathy, and responsibility collide in painful ways. In downtown East Side, where thousands live without stable housing, local businesses struggle to coexist with growing encampments. In Oppenheimer Park, volunteer groups clean areas each week, but still see the same faces return, caught in an endless cycle. Meanwhile, in suburbs like Surrey and Burnaby, residents voice frustration that even well-funded programs can't keep up with rising costs and dwindling affordable housing. Beneath the frustration, though, lies something deeper. Fear that the system is slipping beyond repair, and that one day, anyone could be next. But amidst this tension, a quiet hope still flickers. Communities like those in Strathcona and DTES have begun to bridge divides by turning empathy into action, hosting neighborhood dialogues, cooking shared meals, and learning each other's stories. These small acts remind us that homelessness is not a stranger's issue. It's a human one that touches every community, every street, every heart. How would you react if this crisis unfolded right outside your own door? What steps could you take to make Vancouver more compassionate and safe for everyone? If this story moves you, share your thoughts below. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to US Homeless Stories, where we uncover the truth behind Vancouver's hidden struggles and the people fighting to bring change. Seven, rallying for united action. All across Vancouver, something powerful is beginning to stir, a sense that we can no longer look away. Homelessness isn't just a policy issue or a statistic on a provincial chart. It's a reflection of how we treat one another when life gets hard. In 2025, more neighborhoods and communities are realizing that real change only happens when people come together with purpose and compassion. From DTES to Strathcona, volunteer networks, churches, and nonprofits are uniting with one mission: to restore dignity and hope for those who've lost both. In BC, programs like Safer Supply and expanded shelters have transformed spaces into homes, giving thousands a chance to start again. In Vancouver, outreach teams now connect people directly to medical care and job programs, instead of waiting for them to ask for help. And in smaller areas, places often overlooked, neighbors are stepping up in ways that never make headlines, cooking warm meals, checking on unhoused elders, or donating blankets during freezing nights. These small acts of kindness ripple outward, proving that change doesn't always start in government buildings. It starts in hearts willing to care. But the truth is, the challenge is far from over. It will take all of us, every viewer, every listener, every person who believes Vancouver can do better, to rebuild what's been broken. Every story shared, every conversation sparked, brings us closer to a city where no one is invisible. So as you watch this, ask yourself, what role will you play in that change? Will you be the one who looks away, or the one who helps light the way forward? If you believe in compassion, empathy, and truth, hit that subscribe button and join us here at US Homeless Stories. Together, we can shine a light strong enough to guide people home. Eight, a reflective close. As we come to the end of this journey through Vancouver's forgotten streets, one thing becomes painfully clear. Homelessness isn't just about losing a roof. It's about losing the sense of belonging that every human being deserves. Behind every tent and every pair of tired eyes lies a person who once had a dream, a family, a story worth hearing. These stories challenge us to look in the mirror and ask, how did we, as a city built on natural beauty and community, allow so many to be left behind? Walk through neighborhoods like downtown East Side, Hastings, or Crab Park, and you'll see two Vancouvers existing side by side, one of comfort and convenience, and another of survival and silence. The man sleeping under the bridge, the mother huddled in her tent with her child, the elder sitting quietly on the curb. They all remind us that the line between stability and struggle is thinner than we think. Life can change in a moment, and what we ignore today could become the story of someone we love tomorrow. Yet even in the darkest corners, humanity still flickers. A volunteer handing out warm food. A stranger stopping to listen. A community coming together to rebuild hope where it was lost. These acts of compassion prove that empathy is still alive, that we can still choose to care, still choose to act, still choose to see. So, as we close this chapter of U.S. Homeless Stories, I want to ask you, what does the Canadian dream mean to you now? Do you believe we can rebuild a city where everyone has a place to call home? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Your voice matters. And if these stories touch your heart, hit the subscribe button and join us on U.S. Homeless Stories as we continue to uncover the truth, the pain, and the hope that still lives on Vancouver's streets.